I'm Andrew. I'm the head jiu-jitsu instructor at Mat Chest Mixed Martial Arts. We've been a Seattle mainstay for the last decade, and fundamentally, the goal for Mat Chest was to create a space where people can push each other hard in the martial arts in a good, productive, positive way. We take martial arts really seriously. We want to push each other, but we want to do it in an uplifting way. And it also based upon instruction that is thoughtful, that tries to maximize people's progress and make best use of their time on the mats.
Hello, welcome to the Couch Potato Podcast second episode. Today I'm here with one of my new favorite people, my instructor, Roy Sterin, and he is one of the instructors for Muay Thai at Mat Chest. And Mat Chest is an MMA gym where you come, you can do jiu-jitsu, you can do wrestling, you can do Muay Thai, and it's really, really fun. Ever since I've started coming here, probably since February, I skipped a couple months, but the last 3 months I've been coming a lot, and that's because this gym has brought so much to me in terms of my overall fitness, my mental health. Last year, I couldn't get myself to do 5 minutes of exercise a day. And I find myself right now, this is my 5th day this week at this gym, and I'm like, I've never been at a place for 5 days in a week before. And it's really cool because I'm in the best shape of my life. And yeah, being able to maintain that consistency for my fitness as well. So that's why I wanted to take this opportunity to really highlight this place and to discuss with you some of the things that I've been really curious about and interested in terms of Muay Thai and amongst other things. And so let's get right into it. And could you tell me a little bit about your background, just so the audience kind of knows a little bit about you?
Sure, yeah. I mean, specific to martial arts, I've been studying Muay Thai for about 10 years. I started at a gym in Belltown and walked in not knowing anything about boxing or Muay Thai or anything. And one of my friends invited me. She had a really good time, and she said that I would probably really enjoy it. So I just walked in, and that was that. And I was hooked pretty instantly, and I like I said, I had no idea of what, any sort of kickboxing or boxing at all, and I didn't really have any equipment either. Like I remember when I first started going to the gym, like I would carry my stuff in like a Trader Joe's paper bag going to the gym. Like
mine's an Amazon bag. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Started there, and once I got in at about a year mark, I really knew that I wanted to have some ring experience in my my martial arts life. So I started training for a fight, and over the course of 7 or so years, I had a couple amateur bouts, which was really great experience, and helped me really kind of understand what is effective, what's not effective, and like the mentality of getting into the ring and all of that. Even though it was at an amateur level, and I'll be the first person to admit, like I don't have this like decorated career history of being in the ring, but I had a taste, you know, and it was great, and partially because I started at such a later point in my adulthood. I really, the only thing that I feel like I might regret is not having started 20 years ago. Oh. So anyway, after that time, I really felt like I needed to gain more perspective about martial arts and bring in something else, specifically jiu-jitsu, to just be a more well-rounded martial artist. So I came here and started learning jiu-jitsu from scratch. Again, it was exactly the same story. Like I had no real experience beforehand on what jiu-jitsu is or anything like that, and back to square one, just started over.
Yeah.
And after I was here for, I don't know, about a year, I think, roughly. There was a need for a Muay Thai instructor
Oh, cool.
at the gym, and Andrew asked me to run the Muay Thai program, and I accepted, and here we are. So it's been a little over a year. It's hard for me to calculate because COVID
Right.
really kind of put a wrench in the works, but it's been about a year.
Yeah.
And I'm really happy with the direction that the class is going, and I hope to get to the point where we have some folks who are ready to take the competitive step of their own.
Yeah.
And match the level of performance that this gym is known for jiu-jitsu. It's a really competitive jiu-jitsu gym for sure.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And I want to continue to develop the program, the Muay Thai program, and have some similar success.
That's cool, yeah.
Yeah.
So one thing that you said that stood out to me, because I feel the same way ever since I started taking Muay Thai a little bit more seriously, is that I wish I started this like 10 years ago, right? Actually, even 20 years ago. I'm like in my 30s now. So I showed you the video of this little girl that was like 5 or something, and she's like crazy good, and I'm trying to copy her moves, and I can't even get close. Like, it's amazing how kids who start young can be so good at something. So I'm a little bit jealous of that, and I wish I started earlier, but at least now I'm here, and hopefully in the next 10 years, like, I might explore something more serious. I'm curious though, since we're on this topic, I'm 33 right now. I'm pretty sure UFC, you have to start a little younger, right?
I think that there's no rules, honestly.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, but I would say that the typical, from my observations, I don't know firsthand, but the typical thing I see in UFC is that there's like a 10-year training,
Right.
program of some kind,
Yeah.
right? And then which includes regional sorts of fights and that kind of thing, and people rounding out their skills, and then really making a push. And then there's probably another 10-year window where they can actively try to
Wow.
be a UFC champion. And I think that's probably it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, not that I want to ever get there, but it's just out of curiosity if it would
Sure.
be possible. Yeah.
Sure.
And the other thing I was curious about is if you ever explored other martial arts and why you chose to stick to.
So Muay Thai and Jiu-Jitsu are the two that I've spent the most time training. A little bit of boxing,
Yeah.
Sprinkled in there, and really, I think that what I need to spend more time on is wrestling. And so that actually will kind of lead into kind of my philosophy about effective martial arts and mixed martial arts. I think that there's 3 distinct phases in a fight, whether it's in the ring or cage or on the street or whatever. There's the stand-up portion of a fight where you're engaging the person that you're fighting at range to be able to throw punches and kicks and all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
So that's where boxing and Muay Thai come in. And then there is the component where you are actively taking the person to the ground, because most fights end up on the ground, right? And you want to be in control of that phase, right? And that's wrestling.
Okay.
So effectively getting someone from standing to the ground. And then once you get to the ground, jiu-jitsu, right?
Okay.
So, being able to control a fully resisting human.
Yeah.
And get into positions of control and to submit them or choke them until they go to sleep.
That makes sense now. Like, there's basically 3 stages.
Yeah.
So yeah, I took jiu-jitsu once here, and it was very hard. It was definitely, I realized, exactly like mat chess. Like, there's these calculations you kind of have to really do quickly in your head. And I felt like, that meme with that lady who's just like, and then like,
like all the math things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how I felt here. But it was actually really fun. And definitely I want to explore that more later once I get a little bit better at Muay Thai. So one thing I remember from a few days ago, so you were watching me and Emily spar, right? And you gave us a tip where you told us we're kind of punching like with our head looking up. And so I started to pay attention to that and kind of look down. And you were right. Like I still did get hit, but it didn't hurt. Like punching me on my head up here versus like, at my face. So it made a huge difference, just that one little tip. Anything that you can think of that you've seen in a lot of students that they make the mistake of, and if like, what would be the number one thing you think of?
Just, I would say poor defensive skills in general.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to be able to learn effective defense and feel comfortable in defense. I think that's probably the hardest thing to learn and feel comfortable doing, because if someone's punching you in the face, your instinct isn't to stand your ground and protect yourself. Your instinct is to probably turn away, right? Like I see this a lot from like early students is this, right? And guess what? That's normal. That's how we're kind of innately wired. Is like, get me away from the crazy violence that's happening right now, right? So you kind of have to unlearn all of that and then replace that with new movements, with new automatic movements. And I think that that's the most important thing, and that's the first thing that new students should learn is that the reaction shouldn't be this, it should be this, right? Or this, right? Or something that's effective and allows you to be able to see what your opponent is doing. Because if I stop looking at you, I have no idea what you're going to do.
Yeah.
Right? And then you can do whatever you want. And so, it's the first stages of learning martial arts, all of it, as far as I've seen, is undoing your natural tendencies and replacing them with intelligent movement, right? Same thing with jiu-jitsu. Like, all your instinctual movements, turns out, are wrong. I mean, it seems like it. Everything that you feel like you should be doing is probably not what you should be doing. So you have to throw all that out and replace it with good movement. And I think that's really kind of, if I had to really simplify it down to what is good martial arts, in my opinion, I think that's what it is.
Yeah, you're describing exactly what I have a problem with. I close my eyes and then I just kind of go like this, as just instinctually, like at least if I get hit, I can't see it. I don't know.
Right.
I remember I think it was Miss Shell. I was sparring with her and she's like, "Mai, you gotta stop doing this." So definitely very, very hard to remember when somebody's throwing a bunch of punches at you.
Yeah. It's stressful.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you're sparring with someone, it's a stressful situation, right? Even though it's controlled, it's still, someone is still trying to kick you and punch you, right? And that takes a while to be comfortable with.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard, but it's really fun. I find that that's my favorite part of the class, is the sparring part. And I think that's where you grow the most too.
Agreed.
Because you actually have to apply what you learn.
Yep.
And you were talking about basically unlearning things from a student's perspective. I'm curious, just from your observations of having had a bunch of students, what makes a good student from a bad student?
I don't know that there's. I wouldn't want to call a student a bad student. There's challenges, right? I would say that the folks that learn stuff, that pick stuff up the quickest, are most open to feedback, right? I think that, and that goes, really, that applies to like everything in life, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if you're open to hearing the feedback that someone who's observing your movement or your work or your study or whatever, if you're open to receiving that feedback and honestly willing to like make a change, then that you gain knowledge, skill, and ability faster, right? And so, I think that there are folks that, have their own notions that they're holding on to, that they feel like what they're doing works better, or they feel like what they're doing is an accurate interpretation of what I'm instructing.
Okay.
There's that too, right?
Right.
It's like I do a roundhouse, and then they do a roundhouse, and there's some details that are missing. And I feel like sometimes students feel like they are doing what I've asked them to do, but they aren't.
Yeah.
And so like sometimes that can be a bit of a challenge, because one of the biggest things that I think all students have to be ready to confront is their own ego.
Yeah.
Right? You got to be willing to let go of whatever pride thing you got going on in here, especially when you're, in situations where you're in physical, distress or whatever you want to call it, right? You got to be willing to just kind of go there and accept the things that you need to learn.
Yeah.
And starting jiu-jitsu after doing 7 or so years of Muay Thai, man, it was like I said, like starting back at zero. Like I spent 6 months just getting crushed.
Yeah.
Every day.
Yeah, it's a humbling experience, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just, it's a lot of like, at the beginning, it's just like, why doesn't anything work? Like, why can't I do anything?
Oh, yeah.
And then like you get little glimmers, like little glimpses of like, oh shit, that actually worked.
Yeah.
And it starts to grow and grow and grow, and then next thing you know, you develop some confidence in your game, and then beyond that, you start to consciously decide to develop your game. And I think that's when you really start to make big strides in your martial art of choice, right? Is that you get past the beginning stages of like survival,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then you start to pick up some nuggets of wisdom more often than they don't, and then you get to start to craft how you apply, because not every skill works for everybody.
Yeah.
Right? There's some folks that don't work for you, and really starting to hone in on the things that do is like the next big project after you get past the beginning stage.
Yeah.
Right? And so like Andrew talks about it a lot in jiu-jitsu, where he talks about, the path of progression for, different colored belt. Like, how much do you know about jiu-jitsu?
Not a lot.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically there's 5 belts
Yeah.
that really most people need to worry about. So, white, blue, purple, brown, black. And, he has such a great way of explaining this, and I hope I'm going to paraphrase it and do him justice. But basically, you spend your time at white belt building up the vocabulary, the language of jiu-jitsu, right? Like you're taking everything in.
Yeah.
Right? And when you get to blue belt, you have the vocabulary, right? The physical vocabulary. Like you have the encyclopedia of jiu-jitsu, right? Doesn't mean that you can do all of it, but none of it looks new.
Right.
Right? That's the important part. And then from there, as you progress through the colored belts, your project is to narrow your focus into becoming a specialist. And that's really what it is, right? So like at blue, you start the process of like throwing stuff out.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that doesn't work for me. That doesn't work for me.
Okay.
This works for me. I'm going to start really focusing on that, right? And then you start to identify what your game is. And then you take that and you start to be able to impose your will on people regardless of what they're trying to do, right? And that's the further and further progression, right? Through purple and brown and black, is that you are able to play your game and force others to play your game regardless of what their game is, right? And then that's really kind of this like mastery of your slice of jiu-jitsu, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's some universality to that when it comes to martial arts, because I think that you think about striking, there are definitely people who develop different styles. There's counter punchers. There's people who rely on timing or footwork or movement. There's people that just come straight forward and are brawlers, and they just want to drive you up to the cage and take away your options and beat you up at close range. There's in Muay Thai specifically, there's people who are masters at clinch. So I really think that philosophy applies to basically all sorts of martial arts endeavors.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I never really knew that about, I guess, the whole process of becoming a specialist. And yeah, you were talking about how like being in survivor mode when you first get started. And I usually spar with the girls because at least I have some sort of a chance. And the first few weeks I just kept getting my ass kicked.
Sure.
Although they went easy on me, and they were actually giving me a lot of good tips and stuff. But now, like a few months later, I feel a little bit more comfortable with some of the fundamentals, and I find myself being able to actually help the next new person with some of the really basic stuff. So it's really cool to see that progression, and also build a little bit more confidence, because it's not just like physically training you, but mentally training you as well.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm going to ask you a hard question.
I'm ready.
Who's your favorite student?
Wow.
Besides me, you don't have to say that. But
I can't pick one. There's no way.
Oh, come on.
There's no way.
Fine.
Because everybody has a thing that I enjoy about them.
Yeah.
Right? And I'll tell you, I'll not answer that question, and I'll tell you what I like the most. I like getting past my own preconceived notions and finding out more about people and who they are.
Yeah.
Like, I like that the most.
Cool.
Because there's people, honestly, like, it's like life. You're not going to like everybody that you interact with, right? Like, not everybody that walks through that door is going to be my friend.
Yeah.
Right? But it's my responsibility, I think, as one of the folks who provides instruction here, to find some common ground, or find a level at which we are both, comfortable, happy, and can have some sort of like fruitful relationship, right? And I think that that's the most important part, and I have as much a responsibility in that as the student does.
It's a good answer. It's going to get you out of trouble.
Yes. You thought you were going to get me to like name a name? There's no way.
Start some drama here.
Yeah, totally.
Harder question. Who's your least favorite student? I'm just kidding. He's right here, so we don't want him to, get hurt. So, moving on to something not martial arts related.
Okay.
Because through my extensive research of wasting time on Instagram, I noticed you're very into skateboarding.
Yeah, that's my main passion, actually.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. I'm a lifelong skateboarder. I've been skateboarding since I was 9 years old.
Dang. Wow.
So I've put in a solid 35 years of work with skateboarding. It's my first love. It's everything. And honestly, like I really can't overstate how much it has shaped me as a person.
Wow.
Because there's cultural components to everything, right? And the cultural components to skateboarding that don't involve riding a skateboard are also a huge part of my life, right? Like just musically and art and all the things that really kind of attracted me to skateboarding in the first place kind of shaped who I am. And I wouldn't change it for anything, and it's very similar to martial arts in a lot of ways. I think it's the access is easy, but and anybody can walk in the door. Like anybody can pick up a skateboard. Anybody can walk in the door here and start training. But so you know, it's easy to start and it's impossible to master.
Wow. Okay.
Right. Like
Yeah,
I think
right.
that the things that I'm attracted to most, and the things that I tend to spend my most time doing fall into that bucket. Right. I love skateboarding. I love martial arts. I play chess really poorly, but you know, these are all the things.
Yeah.
That they take time and dedication, and they aren't easy, and there's no immediate gratification, and I don't want immediate gratification. It doesn't do anything for me. I want to do things that are hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. Yeah, I never really thought of skateboarding as something that could be so life changing. But I guess it's more than just, because with building any skill, right? It's the discipline of consistency over time. And and I know that there's a whole skateboarding culture, which is really cool too. Well, I guess that answers my question of if you had to pick Muay Thai or skateboarding.
Oh, I mean, luckily I don't have to.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So also on your Instagram, one of my favorite things to go through is the stories, and there's a lot of interesting memes. Very.
That's the word you're going to stick with.
You're
Interesting.
a very colorful person, which is cool. It's entertaining. And my question is, what's your favorite meme?
Oh my God. You know, I think it has to change over time.
Yeah.
But I'll give you an answer, an actual answer.
Okay.
Without getting too specific. I think that, you know, I'm a sucker for cat memes. So like any sort of like anything that has cats in it, I'm automatically like, you know, because I have cats and I'm a crazy cat lady, I guess. But so I think that, you know, cat memes kind of vault their way to the top. But honestly, anything that makes me laugh, I feel like it's worth sharing if people if it makes other people laugh. Cool.
Yeah,
right?
I've chuckled a few times.
There you go. I got a chuckle. Chuckles are good.
I had a feeling that your answer was going to be cat memes.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
You seem like the cat type.
Yep.
I'm a dog person.
I never thought I was gonna be the cat
Oh, yeah?
type. Yeah, I mean, I'm allergic to cats actually.
Wow.
So to have two cats is kind of a strange thing, and really what happened is I found out that there are breeds that are less likely to cause allergic reactions, and those are the cats that I have.
Nice.
Yeah, a
That's
little bit of research, like go internet. So, but I mean, honestly, like I love all animals. I love dogs. I love cats. I'm like when it comes to like, if you want to see me react emotionally to something, it's more likely going to be some sort of animal situation. Yeah. Than like a human situation. Yeah.
Cool. Wow.
Maybe I should be a little more empathetic towards humans, but definitely the animal stuff pulls at the heartstrings.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I've spent many hours watching cat and dog videos.
There you go.
So, all right, last topic. I think this is a good place to end it.
Okay.
So one thing I recall you mentioning at the end of class one time, and it stood out to me because I felt like it's something I could relate to, and it touched my heart and really showed you who you are as a person. And that was you were saying that you were an AMC stockholder.
Oh yeah.
I'm just messing with you. But obviously, I am a fan. I found this at the mall like a few days ago, and it's like, hey, that's kind of cool.
That's really funny.
I'm gonna represent, the little people. But yeah, I've been holding AMC since like January.
Okay.
Being really patient so far. So I thought it was kind of cool that you mentioned that. But,
yeah, meme stocks, right?
Yeah.
So I think that what's really interesting about that is that there's a group of people, retail investors, not professionals, who have gotten together on the internet and have figured out how to use the stock market the same way that hedge funds do, and essentially beat them at their own game.
Yeah.
And that really resonated with me, and I felt like I wanted to play too.
Okay.
And honestly, like at my level of income, like I don't have the ability to make large plays, and I'm not going to put myself in a position where like I'm not going to be able to make rent because I invested money in a meme stock. Like I'm not,
Right,
I'm not,
of course.
I'm not dumb, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not afraid of a little bit of gambling.
Yeah.
And so, when the whole GameStop, AMC, short squeezes, really started to come into my attention, my first thought was, man, I want to get on board just so I have some skin in the game, so I can root for my team, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And really, that's all it is for me. Like, if I lose what I invested, I was comfortable with that when I invested it, right?
Yeah.
If the unlikely scenario happens that both stocks skyrocket and I make a bunch of money, then I mean that's not bad, right?
Yeah,
like
for sure.
I'm not going to complain about that. The reality is, honestly, like it's probably going to end up being somewhere in the middle. I might make a little bit of money,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's fine. It's more about the fact that people who weren't supposed to know how the game works figured out how the game works and used it to their advantage, and I love that. I love it.
Yeah, for me, like a lot of it is about, there is a whole culture behind it now, and the fact that it's exposing a system that is in a lot of ways like kind of corrupt.
Kinda.
Yeah, very. And a lot of things that we didn't realize were there, and regulations are starting to change, which is really cool. And yeah, hopefully it skyrockets. But if not, like we're all responsible for our own decisions, right? So,
Totally.
Yeah. So with that, I actually got you a gift. Assistant, could you please grab me the Lululemon bag?
I got a gift.
Yeah, I wanted to start a new thing where I actually give people something. Oh, the Lululemon bag, the white one. Yeah, for your time and everything.
Well, that is very nice.
So I went to Lululemon and I got you some nice yoga pants.
Did you give me some yoga pants?
Yeah.
Sweet.
They had some special edition Muay Thai yoga pants. This is mine, actually. But here you go.
Should I look at it now?
Yeah.
All right. The big unveil.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Not actually yoga pants.
Well, I'm disappointed they're not yoga.
Yeah,
I'm
so
kidding.
now we're twins.
There you go. Look at that. We're twins.
I was hesitant on getting you the
That's so
same
cool.
shirt because, like, I don't know if it'd be weird if we both wore it the same day here, but I'm actually moving to Canada, so you can.
You are?
Yeah.
Wow, way to drop a bomb on your own podcast. When does that happen?
Well, I've been waiting for like half a year, but I think Canada finally decided to let us in August 9th.
Okay.
So I might go on the 9th or the 11th or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are you going
finally.
to end up?
In Calgary.
Okay.
So yeah, it should be fun. And I already found my Muay Thai gym there, so I'm all set for that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So, are you a Canadian citizen?
No, I get this question all the time, like why Canada out of everywhere? But
No, I get believe me, I get it. I would live
universal health care.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not Canadian. I have a really good friend in Calgary, and we figured we hang out in the same city or whatever. And I'd been wanting for like the last decade, to like experience living in a foreign country for a while. So I figured, why not? I'm still relatively young. Why not?
Sure.
Yeah.
Are you looking? Is this like a permanent move, or like until?
I have no plans.
Okay.
It could be a year. It could be 10 years. So we'll see.
And you can. So I'm imagining you can like work from anywhere.
Yeah, I do freelancing, so yeah, that helps. And if AMC moves, then I don't have to work at all.
There you go.
Right.
That's amazing. Good for
Yeah.
you. Yeah, I mean, I've definitely thought about like, where else could I live?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. And I think my choice, if I ever leave Washington, if I ever leave the States, I think Southern Europe is kind of where I'm looking, for sure. I like Spain,
Oh wow.
like
Yeah.
Southern France, like right on the Mediterranean.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know where you should really go though?
Where?
Thailand.
I would love to go to Thailand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not only the Muay Thai there, that's when I first learned about Muay Thai, but you can get massages for like $5 and they're like an hour long, and it's the best massages in the world.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's like paradise. If you can live like a king for like $1,000 a month.
That's what I hear. Like the dollar goes a long way, right? So Thailand's definitely on the list.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
That's cool.
And I like Thai food. So I mean, how can you go wrong?
Yeah, Thai people are awesome too. Super
Yeah.
friendly.
Have you seen Muay Thai fights in Thailand?
No, that was like before I really knew much about Muay Thai. But I love the fact that it's such a thing over there. It's their national sport, right? So, you know, they drive around in these big trucks and that's super decorated and they make these announcements about the fights and stuff. And I thought that was really cool. I wanted to go, but just didn't get around to it. Yeah. But I definitely will have to check out a gym and a fight.
Yeah.
When I go there next time.
Yeah.
Planning to go before the end of this year, actually.
Really?
Well, if COVID, you know, gets a little bit better.
Yeah. Everything's kind of dependent on whether or not the world opens up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
you know, but it is what it is.
Amazing. That's cool. Well, I'm gonna be sad to see you go.
Yeah. I will be sad to go, but yeah, I'll be back and I'll be sure to come back here for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm really gonna miss this place out of everything here. You know, having kind of just getting settled at a place where, you know, started to make friends and stuff. So, but it's cool. Like, I'm sure they have cool Muay Thai in Canada too.
Oh
I
yeah,
hope.
I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do.
Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, one thing I really do believe pretty strongly in is that it's important to get multiple perspectives on training when it comes to martial arts.
Yeah.
There's no one instructor that has all knowledge and is able to transmit all of that to any one student, right? So
Yeah.
different approaches are really cool.
Okay.
And you know, I think that the more coaches and instructions and videos that you can find on YouTube, like the more you kind of expose yourself to all those different perspectives, the faster you progress. Once you get past the like overwhelmed, holy shit, what's happening 6 months in the beginning, like once you get past that, maybe a year, once you get past that and things start to make more sense, I think that having multiple perspectives is a good thing ultimately.
Yeah, for sure.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to that as well.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
And, you know, especially just responding so quickly after I asked you something so random. Yeah, can you tell, if you want to share a little bit about like how to reach out to Mat Chess or you, if anybody's interested in.
Yeah, I think that if you are interested in coming to Mat Chess and taking a class, all you gotta do is walk through the door.
Okay.
Or go to matchessmma.com. I believe I hope that's the website. Hold on, I'm gonna check. I'm gonna dial it up.
I'll put it at the bottom of the screen.
I want to make sure.
Or you can search in Instagram.
Yep.
Just put in Mat Chess.
matchessmma.com. MAT chess. So come on in. We love inviting people that you know are new and to jiu-jitsu or Muay Thai, boxing, wrestling, Muay Thai, jiu-jitsu. Did I forget one? No, didn't forget one. That's it. So if you have any interest in any of those, I think that this is a great place to come and learn, and come see us.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a definitely very welcoming environment, and you know, just my personal testimonial. It's one of my favorite things that I've done so far. So
It's awesome. It's good to hear.
yeah.
Kids classes too.
Kids classes too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's right.
I kind of considered going to kids classes because maybe they're more my size, but yeah. Anyway,
You've done just fine in the adult class.
Yeah. So far, I finally found a partner that's like my size, but then I'm leaving, so it's
I know.
kind of sad.
You might have to take them with you to Calgary.
I know, yeah, that's a good idea. But yeah, thank you so much
You're welcome.
for this, and it was an awesome conversation.
Thank you.
you for being patient with all the technical difficulties, but
I get it.
Yeah.
It was fun.
cool.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks.